like to just give a short presentation to explain what One Humanitarian and One Poverty Response System is, so that as we engage in this technical session, we'll have a full grasp of what we intend to achieve. One Humanitarian, One Poverty Response System, in short, OHOPRS, is intended as a unified national architecture for ending poverty in Nigeria. As of 2022, over 63% of Nigerians face multidimensional poverty, according to the study conducted by our own NBS in conjunction with OFI, the United Kingdom, Oxford, United Kingdom. That's a huge population to be poor. I notice structural gaps. There's chronic fragmentation in the system across ministries, departments, and agencies. So I realized that in an effort to resolve the problem, everyone is doing their own best to contribute. Different ministries, obviously, our poverty is multidimensional. And so it is expected that everyone will do something to be able to help. This created a chronic fragmentation, one that needed to be corrected. A lack of synergy, so that our effort is not contributing or is not leading to the impact that is needed. While we're putting a lot of money, development partners are putting a lot of money. The MDAs are spending money. Multinationals are spending money. But the impact is not felt. There's a gap that needed to be corrected. I recognize a clear visibility crisis. We had blind spots in who we are supporting, where we intervene, and what we actually achieve. There's a clear coordination deficit, a disconnect between what the different actors are doing. So here we recognize the effort, but this effort is not synergized to give us the result that is intended. The key message here: Nigeria does not lack interventions. Nigeria lacks systems. That is the premise in which we came up with our flagship program. The current system is broken. As explained, we're working in silos. Multiple uncoordinated beneficiary registers, for example. Inefficient funding. The funding is sort of, comes through parallel pipelines, leading to leakage and wastage. Duplicated efforts that fail to reach the last mile. Fragmented, lack of synergy, and limited social proof or impact. Stagnation, a lack of unified poverty exit pathway. So we have been managing poverty, not ending it. It is time for a paradigm shift. We need a clear national direction, and the president gave a clear instructions. His vision is uncompromising. He wants 50 million Nigerians out of poverty by 2030. And so we came up with the One Humanitarian, One Poverty Response System. I'll shorten it as OHOPRS. This is intended to be the new national backbone designed to integrate humanitarian relief, long-term development, and social protection. It's intended to align ministries, departments, and agencies, state governments, and development partners. It's intended to track individuals from a state of vulnerability to support, to exit, and to growth. The core principle is to have one system, one register, one pathway. Flagship, One Humanitarian, One Poverty Reduction or Response System. We want to move people from survival to self-reliance. That is what the poverty exit pathway is intended to achieve. We are mapping a measurable journey for every poor citizen. We will use the National Social Register to identify the vulnerable. We use it for targeting. And so this will be strengthened with the support of partners. It will be expanded to cover more Nigerians, because that is going to be the core targeting tool for the poor and vulnerable. The Unified National Benefit Register is for immediate registration and targeted support. So out of the National Social Register, we'll be able to target individuals for specific support and move them to the National Benefits Register. The Unified National Exit Register is for transitioning out of poverty by providing skills, assets, livelihood support, coaching, mentoring, and at the end of the day, we ensure that these individuals are either gainfully employed or they are in businesses that will support independence. And once we achieve that, we move them to a unified national growth register. It is sustaining for, this will be used for monitoring to ensure that growth is sustained and to prevent a slide back into vulnerability. The Poverty Intelligence Lab will help us with data-driven governance. So real-time poverty analytics, provide us an LGA-level dashboards monitoring, predictive modeling using the potential of AI to help us. It will help us to track needs, interventions, gaps, outcomes. It will help us to do our gap analysis, identifying underserved regions in real time. What changes with One Humanitarian, One Poverty Response System? At the moment, in terms of strategy, currently we have scattered programs. OHOPRS will help us to have a unified national system. In terms of data, we have multiple registers. The current, our proposed flagship will help us to have one national register. In terms of monitoring, at the moment we have weak-stroke manual tracking. We intend to have real-time digital tracking with the OHOPRS. In terms of leadership, government/donor-driven silence. In terms of our new flagship, we'll have a government-led coordination. Currently, we have no exit strategy. The OHOPRS will give us structured poverty graduation. It's going to be approached as a whole of government approach. The Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction, as mentioned earlier, will serve as the coordinator, the architect, and system owner. MDAs, specialized operators of sector-specific programs. As mentioned earlier, our poverty is multidimensional. For example, if you may be rich, you may have money in your bank account, but if you live 30 minutes away from a healthcare facility, you're still poor. Reason is, if you were to have a heart attack, for example, you need someone to see you urgently. If you can't make it to the hospital in a quick and faster manner to receive health and medical attention, you're still poor. And that is why it will take different ministries, departments, and agencies to be able to resolve the multidimensional poverty situation in our country. States will be the engine of local implementation and field-level data. Partners, aligned contributors, following the national roadmap. Because we want to create very strong national priorities. We welcome help, but it needs to be aligned with our national priorities. The private sector, drivers of innovation and sustainable financing. Why this moment is critical? The urgency of now. Escalating pressures from climate shocks, displacement, and economic headwinds. There's need for fiscal prudence. We cannot afford the luxury of wasteful, duplicated spending because the money is not there. Shrinking global aid. Efficiency is no longer optional. If we do not unify now, we are choosing to fail. What success will look like? The expected national impact of one humanitarian, one poverty response system. 50 million meaningful graduated from poverty by 2030. Real-time national poverty dashboard accessible to leadership and those who need it for their work. Coordinated humanitarian response system that anticipates shocks before they happen. Optimization of every naira from public and also donor funds. Operationalizing the vision, our commitment to integrate all existing programs into the One Humanitarian, One Poverty response framework. Commit data to a unified national register. Utilize the poverty exit pathway for all interventions. Strengthen financing through the One Humanitarian, One Poverty response framework. There's a message to all. A defining legacy from the relief to results. The OHOPRS is more than a reform. It is Nigeria's blueprint for lifting our people from poverty to prosperity. The focus is shifting from the poverty line to the prosperity line. Yesterday, we managed the challenge. Today, we architect the end. Thank you so much for coming.